Today, we are going to talk about the Self-Determination Program and what it means to be in the program. We'll go over some key terms you'll hear throughout the presentation. We'll talk about how being part of the Self-Determination Program is different from how you are currently receiving services. We'll go over some key things you need to know about self-determination. We'll talk about how self-determination works and some things that are specific to the Self-Determination Program. Before you leave this meeting, you'll understand how to be put on a list of candidates for possible enrollment in the Self-Determination Program and what the next steps are. If you are interested, by being at this meeting today, you've completed the first step in the process. Before we get started, here are some terms you'll hear throughout the presentation. Some of these titles and people you may be familiar with, and some you may not. We'll talk about them in more detail throughout the presentation. Person-centered planning, a way to assist people to help them describe what they need to bring purpose and meaning to their life. Individual Program Plan, or IPP, the document the Regional Center Service Coordinator writes to you to outline your services and supports using the person-centered planning process. Regional Center Service Coordinator, the person at the regional center who helps you with the services and supports in your life. Independent Facilitator, the person you may choose to help you work through the Self-Determination Program. Financial Management Services, the person who helps you manage the money in your individual budget. The individual budget is the amount of money you can spend on the services you need. The program has 5 principles that are part of the law. Freedom to plan a good life, to have the same rights as everyone, to choose family and friends that can help, where you want to live, how you want your time to be spent, and who supports you. Authority over your personal resources. You have a budget, and you get to decide exactly what to spend that money on in order to reach your goals. Support for building a life in the community, to choose what you need to meet your personal goals and hire people that will help you live the life you want in your community. Responsibility and pride in making your own decisions, to be accountable for your budget and the way the money is spent. Confirmation of the important role you play. In the Self-Determination Program, you play a critical role as the person who makes decisions. You and your family get to choose the services and supports that will help you accomplish the goals in your IPP. Essentially, in the Self-Determination Program, you have an individual budget from which you can purchase what you need and want. It gives you more choices and flexibility in choosing services and supports, the people that provide you the services you need to meet your goals, who helps you. This could be a lot of different people, like your friends and family, your Regional Center Service Coordinator, an independent facilitator, and you'll have a financial management service provider. There are many people who can work with you towards your goals in life. Most importantly, the focus of Self-Determination Program is you. You determine where you go and who you spend your time with. Next, we're going to watch a video created by the Department of Developmental Services, the state agency that funds the Regional Center Services. The video will show you what it's like to be in the Self-Determination Program. This film features many individuals and families who are participants in the Self-Determination Pilot Project, in which more than 200 people have participated in a successful test of self-determination since 1997 at 5 different regional centers.
Hello, I am Santi Rogers. I'm the Director of the Department of Developmental Services. It's an honor to share with you the unbelievable success we've had of creating a pathway of freedom for individuals we serve and their families. It's called self-determination. Self-determination is built on some very basic principles that you and I live by. The opportunity to make choices for where you live and with whom you're going to live. It's a personal freedom, and that personal freedom is best exhibited when you're in your own place. Your family is intimately involved, and part of that is an extension of a good life.
Hi, my name is Willie West. I've been in the Self-Determination Pilot Project at the Redwood Coast Regional Center for the last 15 years. When I entered the pilot, I was 18 years old, and it was a lottery system. And I didn't know if I was going to be part of it or not. And I didn't even know what it was going to be, but I was all for it. I was all for a change. The Self-Determination Program has changed my life a lot. It helped me grow as a human being. I could live independently, and I got an awesome job at the Redwood Coast Regional Center. I'm part of society, and it just feels wonderful. the services that I find the most beneficial is community living. I have a caregiving company that comes in the morning to help me get up out of bed. I have transportation and I have advocacy.
Hey, David.
We have a child with a very, very rare chromosome condition. And I think the fact that we have the options and the choices, it's hard, but it's not as hard.
I don't know how we would do it without self-determination. I honestly don't. It has been that good for our family and for our child.
We have an 8-year-old son named Oscar Antonio who's been diagnosed with Down syndrome.
It did take some time for us to understand what were the options, where was the help, and the regional center was where we first walked in, and they've been amazing. They've helped us tremendously.
Self-determination will give us flexibility, and we fully expect he'll have the lifestyle that he merits and deserves.
Well, the starting point for us is that we have principles that have been established through our pilot that for us there are just 4. Freedom, that's freedom of choice. Authority over the services and products that we choose to have. Support from the regional center because it is responsible for providing things that may be helpful to our child to promote his cognitive development as well as physical health, safety, and quality of life. And then 4th, and importantly, is responsibility. And responsibility is really accountability for the funds that we receive to expend on services and products.
My name is Maria Marquez, and I was the first person in the state of California to have my budget signed under the Self-Determination Pilot Project. Each participant under the Self-Determination will have their own individual budget, and that budget is for the whole year, where they get to pick and choose their services and pull out of their budget. Like my budget, what I used it was to get a computer so that I can get a good job.
Your budget is based on your plan, and your plan is what your needs are for the year. And then your budget is how much money the regional center will spend on what you need for the year.
You know what the funds are that you're going to receive, and then at the end of each month, you submit a report that tells you what you started with, what you expended your funds on, what was left over, how the funds have been expended, and what has actually occurred. That requires work. That's the responsibility part.
You have to do some more.
Self-determination gives us the ability to really create a customized program for our son. And at the end of the day, it's not really us, it's going to be what he wants.
You have more flexibility and self-determination to say, he doesn't fit in this slot, but I think we can create a new slot.
With self-determination, the door is open. We can access those services and don't have to wait for a long time. We'll be able to create a self-centered plan specific for him.
You can sign up for the Self-Determination Program by going to the informational meetings, talking to your service coordinator, and even talking to your family about it so that everybody's aware of what's going on.
For anyone who's interested, the first thing that I would recommend that you do is that you let your regional center know and make sure that you attend the first orientation, which explains to parents the responsibility and all the work, because there is a lot of work, but it's also all worth it.
You've heard from some of the hearts and strong feelings of both people who are going to be participating in self-determination, as well as their parents who are going to support those participants. It's a great celebration that we are experiencing. Imagine that, a good life. What are the components of a good life? It's the opportunity to make decisions for yourself.
I am self-determined and I am in control.
Yo estoy en control.
听了のは私。
我负责。买菜俾明年啦。
I am and control.
So I went home and I told my parents over dinner, I'm gonna move out on my own. And they go, well, when's that gonna happen? I go, in the next 6 months. And I didn't know if that was gonna be the truth or not, but that was my goal. And a year later, I moved out on my own, and my mom said that it would never work because with my disability and all the stuff I need help with. And I've been living out on my own now for 15 years.
The way the self-determination program works is different than the way services are delivered right now. The thing that makes self-determination so exciting is that it gives you flexibility in choosing your services, supports, and providers. In the self-determination program, you can buy different services, not just those through the regional center. The program offers a lot of flexibility. Services can include, but are not limited to, individual training, vehicle adaptations, or support with communication. Your services and supports can be from almost anyone in the community. Right now, your service coordinator from the regional center is the person who helps you find the services you need. In self-determination, you get to decide who else you want to help you. This could be your family or friends, or an independent facilitator, which we'll learn more about later. In self-determination, there will be money in a budget, and you will choose which services and supports to have meet your goals. As you determine what services and supports will help you meet your goals, here are some things to consider. It's all about choice. You choose what services you need and who will be providing them. You design how someone will help you throughout your day or at home to do the things that are important to you. The goals you have for your life help you decide which services you need. You will have people in your life to help you find those services. People like friends and family, or professionals you can hire, whomever you choose. Services have to adhere to the new rules, also called the Final Rule, from the federal government. The Final Rule was put into place to make sure that people receive services that support full access to their communities. The Final Rule also talks about independence in making life choices as well as rights to privacy, dignity, and respect. Being a part of the self-determination program means your services will follow the new rules as soon as services start. Rather than thinking about the self-determination program as offering a list of services, think of what you'd like to do with your life and the goals that are important to you. Then identify what you need to reach these goals. There are many unique things with self-determination, like hire someone to help you go camping, to help you live on your own, or to help you start your own business, maybe to write a business plan or help you do marketing. You can take an art class, ask someone to help you make friends or even start a relationship. You can even get help in finding various activities like horseback riding lessons. There are many people who are very excited about the self-determination program and are looking forward to being a part of it. As I stated before, more than 200 people have been participating in a pilot of this program since 1997. Again, there are a few things that need to happen before the program can be available to everyone. First, we need approval for federal funding, which has been asked for through what the government calls a waiver. Receiving this funding is a requirement, and the program cannot expand until this is approved. Once approved, then 2,500 people will be randomly chosen to participate for the first 3 years of the program. After the first 3 years, the program will then be available to everyone. In the next few slides, we'll talk about how self-determination works and how you guide your goals in life through the person-centered planning. We'll discuss some of the different parts of self-determination and some of the people who can help you. We'll go over person-centered planning and how to drive this process to meet your goals. We'll discuss the Regional Center Service Coordinator and the role and responsibility they will have in your person-centered planning. We'll talk about what an independent facilitator is, where you can find one, and what they can do for you. We'll go over financial management services and how they will help you with your money and services while a participant of self-determination. And we'll go over what an individual budget means and how it is determined. Person-centered planning is about your future and reaching your goals. Other people can have their opinions, but in the end, it's about you. You decide what's important to you to feel satisfied, fulfilled, and happy. You'll also think about what is important for you to be healthy, safe, and comfortable in your community. Effective person-centered planning balances the things you like and the things you need to work towards your goals. Lots of people can help you, like your family, friends, teachers, neighbors, boss, and more, but only if you want. Think about what is most important to you and your family. Once you've made your choices about what you want, an individual program plan, or IPP, is written based on the decisions you made. The IPP lays out your goals and what you need to reach those goals, including what services and supports you need to get there. Each person who receives services from a regional center has a service coordinator assigned to them. Some regional centers call them something different, like Client Program Coordinator or CPC, Counselor or Social Worker, but they essentially have the same job: to help you with your services and supports through the regional center system. Service coordinators are responsible for ensuring that the services and supports you've identified through person-centered planning are in your individual program plan or IPP. Both generic services and paid services will be in your IPP. Your service coordinator will help you determine your individual budget and will work with you with an independent facilitator if you choose to work with one. If you choose not to use an independent facilitator, your service coordinator can help you locate the services and supports you've identified that you need to work towards your goals. If you choose to hire an independent facilitator, you pay for them from your individual budget. The independent facilitator can't provide you other services. They need to be independent. However, you can choose to have your regional center service coordinator help you locate services and supports with no cost from your individual budget. Additionally, you can choose an independent facilitator that does not wish to be paid, like a friend or family member. The independent facilitator can help you with many things, like advocating for you through person-centered planning process, coordinating services and supports consistent with your plan, helping you make informed choices about the money in your budget, and helping you identify your needs and developing options to meet those needs. The individual budget is the amount of money you can use for your plan. Your plan will talk about what services and supports you need. The amount of money you receive for your budget is based on the cost of your services from the regional center in the last 12 months. The individual budget may be adjusted to support any prior needs or resources that were not addressed in the individual program plan. For people that are new to the regional center, their budget will be determined by the average cost that the regional center pays for each service, unless the person has a unique need that requires a higher or lower cost. Your budget amount can be adjusted up or down. For example, if you have a big change in your life, like moving out into your own apartment, or if you become very sick, or if you get a new job. These big changes may mean you could have a change in your budget. Let your team know your budget needs to be reviewed as changes come up in your life. Keep in mind that there are generic resources available to you. A generic resource is something that's available to everyone, not just people who are served by the regional center. These resources need to be used first before you can use the money in your budget. Generic resources can be things like education through the school district, health services through your health insurance, or personal care through in-home support services. Remember, you have friends, family, and other important people in your life who are resources and can help you. The Financial Management Service Provider, or FMS provider, is the person who helps you manage the money in your individual budget. The FMS provider is the only required vendor service with the regional center. They can help with many things, like making sure that your service providers are qualified to help you. They verify your provider has obtained a background clearance. Background clearances are required for all direct care providers, including family members who provide personal care to you. Service providers are responsible for the cost of the background check. But if someone you want to hire has already passed a background check, they may be able to use that clearance to provide services to you. FMS providers also pay your service providers with money from your budget, and they help you stay on track with your spending. In self-determination, you must have a financial management service provider. The cost of this will be paid by you out of your individual budget. But it's important to be aware that because the program provides so much flexibility in who provides services, the amount you pay for a service could be less under the self-determination program. The money that remains in your budget could be used to cover the cost of the financial management service provider. You lead your team and decide how you will set and meet the goals for your life. You have a plan that is focused around you and your goals. You can choose many different people to help you, including an independent facilitator. Your independent facilitator can be a service you decide to pay for, a friend, a family member, or your regional center service coordinator. You have a set amount of money in your individual budget to help you pay for the services you need if generic services are not available. Your financial management service provider is there to help you make sure the services you're getting are from qualified people and to pay for the services you've decided on. Your financial management service provider also helps you stay within your individual budget. By being at this informational meeting today, you've taken the first big step to being eligible for the self-determination program. Like we spoke of earlier, all the names of people who are interested will be put on a list, and 2,500 people will randomly be selected to participate in the next 3 years. If you add your name to the list today, but end up deciding that self-determination is not right for you, you don't have to enroll if you are selected. There's no harm in adding your name to the list today. You can always change your mind. Once you've added your name to the list, you'll receive a letter in the mail confirming that you are on the list. You can also check the Department of Developmental Services webpage by searching the database using your UCI number to make sure your name was added. If you haven't received a letter and your name isn't on the website, you can contact your regional center. Once federal funding is approved, the Department of Developmental Services will randomly select 2,500 names from the list to participate in the self-determination program. In order to make sure that the group of people chosen for self-determination represents the statewide regional center population, there are certain factors that will be taken into account, like regional center, ethnicity, age, gender, and disability diagnosis. People whose names were chosen will be notified. If your name was not chosen, you can stay on the list of candidates and wait for a space in the program. If your name was chosen, you'll need to attend an orientation at your regional center where you'll learn even more about self-determination. Again, once selected, you'll need to attend an orientation at your regional center. At orientation, you'll learn more about the next steps of being a part of the self-determination program. That includes meeting with your regional center service coordinator and the people you've asked to help you, friends, family, and your independent facilitator, if you've decided to have one. When you meet, the team that you've asked to help you will determine your individual budget and, most importantly, your team will help you identify what your goals are for your life through the person-centered planning process. Also, your team will help you find the services and supports you'll need to meet your goals. They can help you identify the generic services available to everyone, as well as find the services or supports you'll purchase with your individual budget. Your Regional Center Service Coordinator will work with you to make sure that your individual program plan, or IPP, shows the services and supports you've decided on. You guide your team in deciding how the self-determination program will work best for you. This is the number of estimated participants allocated to each regional center. The numbers will be redistributed once the waiver is approved, based on each regional center's current population at that time. If you want to learn more about the self-determination program, visit the Department of Developmental Services website at www.dds.ca.gov/SDP. If you have any further questions, please email them at sdp@dds.ca.gov. Thank you.